Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mayor Robert McCraight here in the city of Romulus for another edition of Romulus Unpacked, where we talk about local issues and just try to share information, have another form of communication with our residents, and share information to be out there. So today's guest, we have Jerry Frayer, our DDA Director. Jerry, you've been with the city for how many years now?
Working on 30.
So for those who don't know, Jerry's been with the city for over 30 years, worked his way up, started as a groundskeeper.
Yes.
Worked his way up to foreman at DPW. He was an integral part of my team in the administration at DPS when I was down there. And he had the skill set we know we need and the passion, the drive, and the integrity to take over this job as DDA Director. So I was excited to promote you, give you a shot at it, and you've done a fabulous job down there. You understood, what the task in front of you was. Anything you want to share with anybody about your journey through Romulus?
I just want to say it's been a great one. I've been passionate about it, and like you said, I started on the grounds crew as a laborer and worked my way up, and I did live in the DDA when, it was thriving back in the day, and, I get to see it how it is today. So it's, and now we're starting to build that culture back up down there. So, but I'm very passionate about my community and appreciate being here to 30 years. It's been good to me as well.
Yeah, there's no denying your passion for this community and to see it come back to what it was when you and I grew up here, especially the downtown area. And that's why you've succeeded in that job. There's things that we can teach you or brush you up, but you can't teach integrity and passion and that drive to succeed that you have. So I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the future there. Yep. And the task is at hand, right? How do we revitalize our downtown? Some of the challenges you have, though, we have the advantage of doing a Monday morning quarterback and a look back to find out what the struggles were and what changed, because like you said, when I grew up in Romulus, you couldn't cross Goddard Road on your bike. There was so much traffic. But a few things happened that people really didn't pay attention. The development of I-275. It used to be everybody from Huron had to drive through Romulus to get to I-94. 275 changed that traffic count. Kelsey Hayes closed. That was 1,500 jobs, and that's what supports your dailies, your JoJo's, all the little mom and pops that were along there. So how do we drive bringing that back? How do we bring that traffic back? And that's the task, and that's the trick, right? So placemaking, better events, those are some of the things you're working on. Well, tell us a little bit about the initiative down there with the Sounds in Our District.
Yep, so the Sounds in Our District, when I came aboard 3 years ago, we used to do 2 a month, and we now do 1 a month. It's the second Friday of June, July, and August. But what we did was put more money in the budget, brought out a bigger band, made the demand, so if you got to make sure you're out there to see that band, and you want to be there. We invested in it, and the numbers have proved themselves. You know what I mean? It's just we're drawing 200 to 300 people out at every Sounds. We've done the mural down there, the crosswalks, we're revitalizing things.
The art initiative, right?
The art initiative has been great. We get a lot of compliments on the things, even from our seniors down there. But the Sounds has really just changed in the last 3 years and building that up and looking to do more next year with the investment in Eagle Alley as well now too, and adding events there.
And there is no book to this. You can't turn to page 92 and decide how to reinvigorate your downtown. So it's hit or miss. You're trying a lot of new things that are what's going to work. Like you said, the change in the initiative and the reinvestment in Sounds in Our District, and then the art initiative are different things, and some have worked and some have not worked. We've done some things down there with the tree lighting that didn't go over so well, but we learned by them. And I've always told you since you took the job, don't be afraid to make a mistake.
Exactly.
And then you get input from the people outside the community too. What do they want to see? So if you come to an event downtown, what are the things you want to see as a resident? We could try to make those things happen.
Yeah, and we're listening to the people. I mean, that's how we're bringing in different bands, different genres. We're listening to the people. Mm-hmm. So, and we're trying to build those expectations up too. Even with our vendors are sold out. I will tell you, one of my challenges was 3 years ago was trying to get people in, to come out to Romulus and be a part of what we were building. And we're to a point now where people are reaching out to us. So what we're doing is we're doing a good thing down here, and people are reaching out to us. People want to be a part of Romulus, and we're going to continue to build that.
It didn't go away overnight, and it's not going to come back overnight. So we got to continue to work on it and be consistent. But the thing that's changed that I've noticed is the people who are coming from different communities to come to Romulus. Yes. And, I like to have the same local people come and attend these events all the time. It's always great to see them out, especially being from a small town. However, when we have people from different communities coming and going, wow, I never knew, that's the win. Because then they take those ideas home.
No, it really is. It is nice, like I said, to see our local people, especially June when we kick it off, when we do Romulus Alumni Night. It's great to see all the past classes be out there, get excited about it. But it's also nice, too, that when people say, hey, Jerry, we can't miss it, you're on our calendar. And they're coming from Canton, they're coming from Monroe. So that does make you feel good. And it's listening to those people, too, when they say, hey, have you checked out this band yet? And we look at it and we're like, hey, we can bring this down here. So it makes you feel good. We're doing the right things. You know, we work with Placer AI. I can tell you in the last 3 years, we're watching the numbers. We have that data. Even with our Pumpkin Festival, the numbers have grown every year over the last 3 years, which is, you know, we're doing something good here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the art initiative, I was really excited about the mural project, and we're going to do more.
Yes.
So if you haven't had a chance to get down in the downtown area and check out the art initiative and see the mural really tells the story of Romulus. I even learned things about Romulus that I didn't know until we put that committee together, and we wanted to tell our story. And then we brought in an artist to do it. And he took the story of Romulus, and that was his version of it. Even if you look at the 5 roads, it's going to 5 points, and adding the 1 R to the center of it in the sense of community, and then the people. And even the silhouettes of the people were intentional to show the diversity of Romulus. Different sizes, different colors. And I remember Mr. Lucas came in and he talked about that World War II training plane that was manufactured in Romulus. And I had no idea. So that was incorporated. So as we tell the story there, where Romulus's planes, trains, automobiles, and people, those were intentional when the committee put together. They tell our story. Even the Kelsey Hayes, so many people worked there for so long. The Underground Railroad, how do we not celebrate that? You know, there was a complete change of life for some people. You know, their journey to a new life for them and their family came through Romulus, and how do we not tell that story? So I love the art initiative you guys brought down there. You took it to the crosswalks a little bit too. Each one of those means something. Tell a little about the crosswalks.
They do, and just to back it up to the mural, I mean, it's a great piece of history, and people even say, hey, I recognize that's blocks on there. That's what we want people to recognize, and I just want to say, too, when we did it, it got so much talk that it actually brought Channel 7 down here, too. Just telling that history and the story, which also led into crosswalks. We're looking at trying to revitalize the downtown. You know, we got the military banners down there. It is very beautiful with the flower pots and the things we do. But adding the crosswalks was just really, each one tells a different story. The one in the downtown, you know, you got the people walking across there, kids, you know, dads, moms, whatever it may be. You got the World War I by the monument over there with the poppies. And then like even the one off of Hunt and Bibbins, you know, it just has the piano keys over there with silhouettes of guitars, but it tells us, hey, this is where we do our sounds, this is where we have some fun. And, you know, where the seniors cross over there, we did some flower pots, just some things that make them happy as they cross the street. And then at, you know, the Shook in Bibbins there, we did the 4 seasons of what, you know, summer, spring, winter, which, you know, as always brings good talk. It just, you know, lets us know we're in Michigan and we deal with the 4 seasons here. But
I love it, though. Everything was intentional. Everything was selected to tell the story. So if you haven't had a chance to get down there and look at the mural, to check out the crosswalks, it's something small, but it adds some vibrancy. And that's what Jerry mentioned, that we use data to make decisions. We look at the data and we see that these initiatives have worked. But the fact that everything's intentional down there and they all tell the story, the World War I, obviously that's going to be my favorite because it shows the silhouette of the classic doughboys marching off to war, you know, with the poppies. And a lot of people have been over that crosswalk, been to events at that monument, the World War I monument, and they don't know that that's a World War I monument.
Right.
And then they haven't noticed the artwork in that crosswalk and how it reflects and pays homage to those doughboys in World War I. So I think the artist did a great job on that, and I love the art initiative. But we're going to continue. We're already talking about the next mural that's going to be down there, right?
We are, yep. And I want to give hats off to the mural committee too. You know, it wasn't my vision, your vision. You know, we brought in a mural committee, worked with the artists, and together it just turned out to be great. And we're going to continue to do that. Like you said, we're already looking at the next one. I know we've talked to Greca down there, and he's looking at doing one on the side of his building or. You know, so we're starting to get buy-in from the businesses. Captain Nemo's, look at what they did over there. They did, you know, a mural on their building too. So, you know, it just shows that people are buying into the vision that we're trying to put down there and share that vision with us as well.
Right. It's no easy task. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're determined to make some things happen down there. Yep. You know, another negative impact that took away from our downtown was we had some landlords there that were absentee landlords. They didn't share the vision for better Romulus. They didn't reinvest in their properties. And when the city had an opportunity to take over these properties, it's not ideal, but we felt we needed to make that initiative happen in order to have shareholders that shared our vision for a better downtown, because we know that there's a good opportunity down there. It was there once. How do we recreate that? And so you guys have built an entrepreneur program where we have some floor space now that's available to bring in an entrepreneur who might have a vision. Some of them are Romulus residents, some are not, and they want to go to that next step. And so now they could get a low rent lease to get them in there, get them started, and ideally they'd be so successful they'd buy the building, because we don't want to be in the real estate business. However, we do need to make sure we control who owns what downtown and that they share our vision. They're not just going to sit on these buildings and leave them vacant for a tax write-off or to suit their own purposes.
Right.
And that's a struggle because you only have so much authority there, so that's a tough one. You got to work with them, but you also got to get them to encourage to share our vision, right?
Exactly, yep. And we continue to work with the grocery store owner. I mean, he did buy it to close it down, but we continue to have those talks with him and work through those initiatives with him. We've brought him some good, opportunities to him. Unfortunately, he doesn't go with the opportunities we're bringing to him, but we continue to have those open talks and relationships with him that maybe one day something will materialize down there. We'll continue to have those relationships. But in the meantime, we don't let that hold us up. We continue to do the good things, fill the buildings that we can control that narrative of. And I'm happy to say that, the buildings that we have down there have good people in them. They're doing really good business down there. Our Polka Dots, our Bubbies, our Marveline's Bake Shop, and even a car wash. Somebody did a paint job, and, we're starting to see the revitalization of just different paint jobs down there and people wanting to invest in their own business. And one thing I can say that I enjoy is working with the businesses is not just talking to them by phone, but going down there and walking the pavement and going into businesses. What can we do to help you? What do you need help with? And trying to create those events or get the buy-in and ideas. And I think that meeting in person goes a long way and working together.
That's a difference maker. It's not really an email or a phone call or a text. It's that personal relationship you're building with these people. So you race through that list real quick. Let's unpack a little bit of that and talk about that. So I think all of us know the Toners and Billy Toner, and he saw the vision. He saw the change, and then he stepped in to buy Captain Nemo's and reinvest in it. And it's been exciting to watch him reinvigorate that. I mean, whenever anybody comes home to Romulus, they got to go to Captain Nemo's. It's a favorite. So he's really capitalized on that. But let's walk down Goddard Road. And you mentioned Polka Dots. Tell everybody what's going on at Polka Dots right now.
So Polka Dots used to be an old party store that was called Polka Dots. And, so they had a vision. The Kudrick brothers came to us with this vision of opening it up as a consignment store. They got about 80 vendors in there. About 67 of them are Romulus people. So they make the goods, bring it to there. Jay Kudrick and his staff maintain the store, sell the product. So the people that have full-time jobs can drop it off. But they've been there 2 years now, doing really good. They've already reinvested, did some upgrades there. And so it's just nice to hear the good things they're doing. And right next door was another vision that his brother had and ended up opening up a pizza place, which used to be Wise Guys back in the day. And it's Bubby's Pizza today, where they provide pizzas, cold subs, but do a great job. Thomas comes from a catering background and chef. Yeah. And together, they work together. They've expanded hours. And that's another thing, getting back to the data and even backing it up to Captain Nemo's, was when Bill took it over. They were cutting hours. It was hard to find people. Coming out of COVID, Bill had a vision. We used the Placer AI data to work with it. When's it busy? And, they're open 7 days a week. A lot of our businesses are offering delivery now. That's one of the challenges that our businesses have is finding people to offer all that stuff to our people. But they're getting there. They're building it up. And it's great to see that, and I will say our business owners work together. They all want to thrive. They have the bigger vision of, nobody's mad that somebody else opened up another shop down there. They want to work together because I see that bigger vision.
It's not competition, it's cooperation.
And that makes my job easier as well when they're working together as well, and the DDA board working with that vision as well.
And an entrepreneur is a different animal altogether. So, right across the street from that is Dave's Barbershop.
Yes.
How many years was Dave? Over 50 years in Romulus, and he was a true entrepreneur. He understood if you're a small business and you're operating, you're there to conduct business every day. You're consistent. And I think the Toners bring that to Captain Nemo's as well. The Kudrick brothers, they're entrepreneurs. They catch, and they understand it. And, of course, Danielle picking up where Dave left off and keeping Dave's Barbershop going in the same fashion, those are true entrepreneurs, and you have to have that mindset in order to succeed. And then farther down the road, we have Marveline's, which is, as you can see, awesome. Really good food down there.
It really is. Great cake pops, muffins, all homemade, cookies. But, another thing on Saturday, she does homemade pizza rolls.
Yes.
Selling out of those. Those are great. But if you get an opportunity, stop in there. I can't eat it all, so I need help. I need people to help support these businesses. Because if
get
we
in
don't
there early on Saturdays, because they sell out fast.
They do.
Those are delicious.
They are really delicious. And, it's just having those things in our downtown that people can go to and visit. And, for the most part, it is reasonable prices as well, too, And like I said, working with one another and each other, they're all down there supporting one another. And I like, even on our Facebook posts, you'll see the toners go to Marveline's and picked up snacks, or, they're ordering lunch from each other. So that just shows, they all...
That synergy.
This energy. And what I like, too, is you mentioned Dave's Barbershop, 50 years in business, but you have Danielle, who's been there quite a few years, and Bill Toner, but you have young people in our, I would just say our aged people, but all working together. So you got a little bit of variety down there. Young entrepreneurs, learning from them, hearing their stories on how they made it. And that's what makes it nice down there when you go down there and talk and hear those stories. And, so.
And I think with Marveline's, too, people don't know that backstory. So Angie, the owner-operator, her and Tony bought it and opened the business. And Marveline is actually her grandmother.
Yes, it is.
So she uses a lot of her grandmother's recipes. So it's all home-baked. She did just the opposite. She bakes really well, obviously. But the entrepreneurship was new to her, so she opened slow, and she continues to add hours and build it slow. And that's a smart move as well. Don't overexpand too fast. Let's keep going down the road. Let's talk about the businesses who have been here through thick and thin and construction projects. Romulus Auto. They've been an anchor in our downtown that everybody forgets about.
They really have been. I will tell you, Ed Green has done a good job taking over for Doug O'Leary down there. They continue to do a great business down there. They do a lot more delivery and bringing it to you now, but people still go down there. We got a lot of, hometown mechanics that still support them and go in there, but they're, another contributor to the downtown that drives business down there. And, Fluff and Puff right next door to them.
Yep.
Robin and them do a great job. And it's just nice that, once again, you got people that need to go down there. Fluff and Puff is thriving. I was just in there the other day, talked to Rob, and, things are going good. Numbers are coming up. So that's a good thing, and right next door to them is Legacy Daycare, which, is great having in the downtown. They utilize our parks, which we made investments in. I just talked to them the other day, too. I just like to check in, see how things are going. But really well, we talked to them, and, they love the parks. They love the initiative and the money that we put into Mary Ann Bank. So now they can go to the historical park or they can go to Mary Ann Bank. So they switch it up to give the kids a little different playground experience, because each one's a little different in their own way. But it's nice to see those kids walking into downtown as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's slide it back a little bit because you bounced over a hidden gem down there in Ed. And if you're a shade tree mechanic, like I fancy myself, I still bust my knuckles up at home and work on the tractor, all my stuff at the house. Ed is one of the best parts guys I've ever seen. If I go in there with something that has, 10 numbers needed for a part and 8 of them are wore off, he finds a way to get that part. So he's a great parts guy. If you're a shade tree mechanic like myself and you still work on your own, go see the people at Romulus Auto.
They will. And I'll tell you right now, if you pull up, girl or guy, I don't care who you are, they will even come out and try to help you if they can. If it's something they can look at, or, hey, I just say the customer service level there is top notch. They're really good at what they do. And, that's the thing. They're passionate just as well as I'm passionate. And that's what's nice when, they got that vision like we do. And, and we hear it from customers. Oh, I went down there and they helped me out with it. Could be a wiper blade, but it meant a lot to them. So it is nice that we have that, and I will say one thing about Romulus downtown. Romulus itself, at the end of the day, it's like everybody treats everybody like family.
Yep, absolutely. And if people don't shop downtown, if they go to the internet and they find that wiper blade, using your example, that's $1 cheaper on the internet, you won't have it downtown. You won't have that convenience. We've seen that happen with the hardware store. And there's been a million times where I've needed just a nut or bolt of that part that they used to have there. And because everybody made that transition to big box stores, the little guy couldn't survive. So if you can, you got to make sure you support the little guy. You got to go downtown.
Exactly. And just to touch on Romulus Auto as well, since the hardware is closed, they do carry some, not everything that a hardware would carry, but they do carry some essential supplies that you would need. So I would say even if it's not for car parts, stop in there, they may have it and surprise you.
So continue going down the road a little bit. You mentioned Greco a little bit.
Yep.
We got some kids doing Kung Fu in downtown.
We do have kids doing Kung Fu down there. It is awesome. I mean, 5 days a week he has classes. 3 of those 5 days he sold out, which is nice. He utilizes the Ego Alley, kids of all ages. He's done some mom defense classes down there. He's had a vision. He's repainted his building. He's got a new sign through the Vibrancy Grant Program that we have in the DDA now within the last 2 years. Craig is a niche good person to have on the DDA board and just a driver down there. We're doing a movie there August 28th, Karate Kid's Legend. Even when it's nice weather out, he'll take his classes on the outside on the turf in Ego Alley and do classes out there, which is nice. We want people to utilize it. But he's just a great partner to have down there and has the vision that we have, and he's involved in everything that we're doing. Yeah, he even helps out with the Pumpkin Fest and puts on classes over there as well during the Pumpkin Fest week, which is nice.
New energy, new ideas.
Yes.
And he's progressive in what he's doing, and we're still working on some different things. But you mentioned Eagle Alley.
Yes.
So even Eagle Alley, if you haven't seen it, you got to get downtown and check it out. It's about placemaking, making places to hang out a little bit, and we're going to continue to get better at that process. But that speaks to some of the landlords that used to own properties in Romulus. The city acquired that because some of their properties were so blighted, the deal was made to buy these 3 only if the city took over this one. So in order to make that happen, we had to take over a blighted building. And that was on the market, I think, for $400,000. And the minute the building department looked at it, we had to demolish it. So it was never going to sell for the dollar amount. And the city did the demolition, which is unfortunate because that did hold some historical. That was our first library.
Yes.
But it was so far gone, it would have been worth the reinvestment to make that building habitable. Best use for it, demolish it, raise the building, and you had the vision for Eagle Alley down there. Even had a contest for naming rights.
Yes.
But it's an incredible event or a venue down there. We're going to continue to make smaller events down there, and I encourage everybody to go out and take a look at it. It's a great place to hang out.
It is a great place. I will say, we started off with a vision. It was just grass and picnic tables and some lights and flower pots. But, it can never happen quick enough. But, $300,000 later and a vision. And, one thing I will say, too, is doing the survey for the naming of Eagle Alley, it's getting the community involved and the people involved that have the vision, because it's not me, it's not you. It's a community. So when we put that out there, it was a lot of fun. But it came up with Ego Alley, and it is a great venue space. People are starting to use it more. Like I said, July 22nd, we had the Fox and the Fiddle out there. It was a low-key 2-piece band, kids playing cornhole. We had local vendors out there, catering. But it was a nice event where people can just come out, talk to one another, music in the background. And it just shows what we're doing down there and growing. And people even driving by on the streets, hey, what's going on? Is this a private party? No, it's open to everybody. So, it was nice to see that people did stop. But, $300,000 investment, it's nice when it's not being used. You can drive down, you'll see seniors eating their lunch there. The daycare comes on over there and uses it as well. But and then, like I said, just people reading a book or eating their lunch down there. I've talked to the Rotary as well, and we're going to put probably a book box out there too. So if you don't have a book, you can actually just grab a book from the book box and relax a little bit. So it is nice, great investment, and we'll continue to build on those programmings down there as well too. And if you haven't seen it come out.
$300,000 that was invested to create Eagle Alley, a lot of that was a grant through a local business as well.
Yes.
So it wasn't just tax dollars. A local business wanted to reinvest in Romulus, and they saw the opportunity, and they got on board. So it's a great place to hang out. If you haven't seen it, you get down there and check out.
And you touched on it, Mayor. No new tax dollars to the residents down there, and that's where we're always looking at grants and trying to be creative and how do we make these things happen without raising any tax dollars to the community.
That's the goal. I don't want to pay any higher taxes. Nobody wants to pay more in taxes. So how do you increase that range of services and placemaking without raising taxes. You got to find a funding source, and that's where we've knocked on the doors for a few local businesses, and they've been more than happy to step up and participate. So we'll continue to do that. It's a tremendous resource for Romulus to have this much commercial industrial, your Ford, your GM, your Amazon, Kroger, Genesco, and just a lot of times they want to find a way to help the community. So we'll continue to work on those creative partnerships.
Yep, I agree.
So you mentioned a grocery store. It always comes up. I don't want to dwell a lot on this one because we continue to work. And the current owner, in case you are unaware, they bought that just to close it. It was their competition. They owned a local grocery store in Wayne. They knew this was their competition, so they bought it to close it. And now it's a tax write-off for them. So we continue to find creative ways and grants that will help offset some of the costs for capital improvement. They need all new HVAC in there. They need all new coolers. It's a good white box, but the mechanicals on that building are substandard. So we found creative ways to plug that in and offer him opportunities, but he's been hesitant. And he doesn't see that chance to make a dollar again. If you're not going to, if it doesn't make a dollar, it doesn't make sense to them. So we're continuing to focus on ways to add rooftops. If we add population and density downtown, then you bring the other businesses in there. So that's the next step. How do we find ways to add rooftops to our downtown?
It is the next step, which we've done a housing study. I can say we completed that. So we're looking at housing down in downtown, but we'll continue to work on that. We know, that is an issue. We do need more housing down there. We
Public-private partnerships. We can't use public dollars for that, but we can work to incentivize the developer who shares our vision to come in and build something for a better Romulus.
Yes, I agree.
So farther down the road, let's keep going, clean to the bone.
Yep.
Great barbecue down there. They're doing pretty good.
They are doing good. Yep. I stopped in there and talked to them the other day, talked to Dawn and them, doing good. And the good thing is we're helping market them on social media like any business in the downtown, but they continue to thrive down there. They do good. They do a lot of takeout, so it's just having those, like I said, open talks and finding out what they need. I wish there was more grant money out there that we can, we're always looking into and trying to get for our downtown, but the Vibrancy Grant has been an opportunity that wasn't there before where they can tap into through the DDA. It's a one-page application, but that's been very helpful in the downtown and having people reinvest in their business.
You're getting ahead of me on the grants.
Okay.
Let's keep going downtown now. So the old plumbing wholesale that closed down, now we have somebody else opening.
So A-OK Plumbing went out of business, but this is a good feel-good story as well. Gentleman reached out to me, Tim Nagy, lives in Romulus, but his business was in Wyandotte. So he got a hold of me. How do I work in Romulus and live in Romulus? So we looked at it. He came to the DDA, gave a presentation to it, and now he does his motorcycle repair, modifications to bikes, stereo systems, all kind of good stuff down there. He is thriving so much that he's actually I just talked to him, and he's looking to expand. So that is good to hear, because if he expands and he has the room to expand over, that's new tax dollars in that downtown that we get to collect on. But also it just shows that people are driving through that downtown, and, there's cars coming through there and stopping and, visiting these businesses to get things done. But that guy works around the clock. I can go down there sometimes 7 o'clock at night and he's still there working. He just has a passion for what he does and, repairing bikes or modifications, but just another great partnership. He's always looking to do more. How can we help? Pumpkin Fest, he set up a booth last year to show what he does over even at his business, which is nice.
It's all about finding the correct partnership, because we can only do so much with public dollars. You get the right partnership with the right private dollars and the person who shares our vision.
Yes.
And that's how we keep working together, and you keep contacting these people, and you keep driving that business. And it's fun to watch. It never happens as fast as we want it.
I agree.
So we talked about how we removed some of the absentee landlords we had downtown. And we talked about creating opportunities for entrepreneurs and new ideas to come in. But a lot of those people, you might be a good candle maker, but are you a good business operator?
Right.
So there was another layer to make sure that they succeeded. And then you guys brought in Laura Sigmund with the Nest to help teach a young entrepreneur the do's and don'ts and the pitfalls of 90% of small businesses close in their first year. So how do we help stand them up? Don't just give them floor space, give them some ideas. So tell us a little bit about Laura Sigmund and the Nest Initiative.
Yep. Laura is down in the Nest in the Chamber building down near Best Practices Consulting Services. She's been a huge part to our downtown and revitalization. Whether you're a young entrepreneur or you've been in business for 50 years, she can help. You may be good at cutting hair or doing other things, but maybe you need a little bit more marketing help. So she can help on all aspects of that. She does workshops. She'll meet you one-on-one and open houses down there to show and offer. She's been helpful on us. I will say, even if they start with Laura in the Nest and myself with the DDA, even if they don't end up in Romulus and go somewhere else, the feel-good story is they started here in Romulus, and they got the help from the DDA or Laura. And Laura has not only Romulus base here, she's in Flint and she's in Detroit. She works with Techtown, Wayne County, but she's
very sharp. She's a
multi-talented,
great
yes. And I was just trying to think of it. She does so many things well, sits on our chamber, and she just brings a lot to the table no matter what you have. And what I like, too, is she's a phone call away. No matter who you are, call me. She'll sit down with you one-on-one, or you can attend one of her workshops. I can tell you when we first started Mayor and I come over here, we had like 4 people in those workshops because you're trying to get people to buy in. But now those workshops are full waiting list, or we're doing more workshops to accommodate that. So that program is built up, its momentum as well, and continues to, thrive down there.
And so that was the second step. The first step was, floor space.
Yes.
Second step was how do we train them up and give them the tools they need to succeed past that first year. And the third step, you went another step just to make sure that they had every opportunity, and that was a grant program.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that grant program and what businesses you've been able to plug into to help them succeed.
Yep. So we have the Vibrancy Grant Program, which is it's up to $750. So if you spend a maximum of $1,500, we'll give you half of your money back, which is $750. But that is great because it could be a new sign, could be windows that you need done, could be a sandwich board outside. But it's money that helps small business that was never there before. That is an opportunity. We're one of the few communities that offer a Vibrancy grant program. I've been in on talks with other people that are saying, how did you guys do it? And, what is our platform? And, so I think people are starting to build off of what we started, which is kind of nice. I wouldn't say we started it, but there was a few in, but we've actually adopted our own.
We were definitely on the ground floor.
We were in on the ground floor, and but it is an opportunity where it wasn't something there 2 years ago that they utilized, and now they can utilize that. And we're seeing that with the martial arts sign. Dave's Barbershop used it, and paying homage to Dave, and a new sign over there. Bubby's did the window clings on theirs that says Bubby's Pizza. Captain Nemo's tapped into it with doing the mural. Justin Freeman, who owns the Aquatic Car Wash down there as well, paint job and a new vending machine. So not a lot of money, but it means a lot to I don't care if you're a young entrepreneur or just been in business 50 years, every little dollar helps.
Right.
And
let's talk larger scale, though. So the initial grant program that I know we did with Marvelines and
the small business
Captain
assistance.
Nemo's, took advantage of it. Even the Kuderik boys and Bubby's in their initiative, we help with larger scale purchases for some of their equipment. That program's no longer around. However, it was a great, push off the shore for these guys in their journey.
Yeah, and it was. And that was the Small Business Assistance Program, which really took off and put new supplies and even whether it be an oven, flat grill, whatever their business needed, but it helped. And it helped keep them in business and get them to that next level. But that was huge. And it wasn't even just in the downtown. It was small business in general. But it did help with the revitalization of the downtown, Marvelines, with equipment, with building projects and stuff that, are astronomical, and they wouldn't be able to get it done if it wasn't for that small business assistance program. I think we need more of that. We put in for them all the time. We're always looking for grants to help us out and help our businesses. So we will continue. Every day we're looking at those grants, and we'll continue to work with those because they are just a big part of what happens and keeping people in business.
And we continue to be on the ground floor of this. You're seeing other communities reach out and go, hey, Romulus has got something going on here. How do we emulate that? And there's, again, no book on this one. We're learning as we go. So there's been some wins and some failures. And we talk about the toners, and I'll use that for an example in purchasing Captain Nemo's. If right off the bat, Billy recognized that if I'm going to serve more people, I need a bigger grill. And that's where they reinvested in the grill. And the same as the Kuderik boys and Marvelines with kitchen equipment. One that didn't work as well as we wanted is the Artisans Reserve.
Yes.
Was there for a few years in Romulus, and we helped them with a grant to buy the kitchen equipment. And they did really well for that summer that they were cooking in there. But then again, they decided to go somewhere else and pack up and close that down. So now you're working with several different people to try to bring another restaurant in there.
We are. So we've been showing it. We had an RFP out there for it, but we're showing it, to people that want to invest in our downtown, but we're trying to make sure that it's the right person that has that same vision as us, has the capital for sustainability as well. We want to make sure it fits our model down there. One thing people want to see is food down there, so we're looking at food. So we will have somebody in there sooner than later. We're just making sure it's the right person and the right fit for our vision. And some of the people met with actually have that vision, have done some of their own homework, and I like that they're looking into our downtown, seeing what's going on, and hearing what they have to say too, and want to be a part of that, building it back up and be a part of the story later when it is, thriving once,
They have to share the vision we have, but they also have to have a good business sense and a good business plan. We've had multiple applications come in, some stronger, some better. Some were well wishes, but we want to make sure it's going to be sustainable. So they got to have a vision for long term, not just how you look in your first year operation. How do you look in 5 years and 10 years?
Yep.
And it's a great opportunity for somebody, and I'm confident that your team is going to find the right fit down there. Sometimes it's better to just tap the brakes and make sure you get the right person. And we move forward on that one.
Yep. And stay tuned on that. And another feel-good story, Mayor, I'll say is, Grindline, Mark Cox's family. They started in the downtown over there by the Helping Hands building, just next door to it. And, he grew. And, he moved out of the DDA. And proud to say he's coming back now. So he's going to go back into the building that he once started in.
It's a family affair too.
It's
not just Bulldog over there.
Exactly.
It's
the him, his wife, his son, and so they're coming back to the downtown. So excited about that too. But another building that's been vacant since he left. But it's almost like sometimes it's say, not that he ever left Romulus, but now he's coming back home, which is home to me and the DDA. But but it is a good feel-good story that he'll be down there and be part of that revitalization as well. So another building that was vacant, and working with Justin Freeman, who actually owns the building and shared that vision with us as well, and helped bringing him back down here as well. So
it's a good fit too. Once you hit Captain Nemo's for a sandwich, and then you go down to Marveline's for cupcake and dessert, you go to Grindline Fitness and work it off.
Exactly. So that's a good thing. So eat that extra cupcake. We got somewhere for you to work it off. So I do like that.
Yeah, another long-term business that we've all been there 100 times is Walters. And they've been struggling a little bit. So we want to make sure we do all we can to support them and keep them open. It's such a my dad used to go to Walters and bowl all the time.
Yes.
What can you share about Walters with what's going on, what we can do to help support them?
So we have been in talks with them. It goes back to like Sylvia days, and Sylvia's still around. I talk to her every now and then, but they did same thing. They went through some ownership changes over there, so they're starting to get things together now. They just rolled out a new menu. They're getting ready to start leagues. Awesome. So, they had to change their hours too. So, that's what I'm saying, using the data that we have and seeing what works for people. So now they're starting to open up at 4 o'clock. I wish they were still open at lunchtime, but they just weren't making the business, so you got to make changes. So they're making changes. Absolutely. I want to say stay tuned. They're putting on more events. We're working with them. We are, we're getting ready to gear up here in November for our turkey trot, which Walters is a big part of that. It's where everybody ends up at the end of the turkey trot, which benefits our Romulus Goodfellows. But Walters is a big part of that, and giving a place to go and people to hang out and have a good time and have a burger or French fries there as well. And it's just the fellowship in there that goes a long way too. And you always run into somebody that, might have a seen in a while, but a good staple in the downtown of Romulus as well, where you can do open bowling. They do have leagues, and just a great place to hang out.
Yeah, it's our Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
It is, exactly. And so we're working with them and trying to build that up and get them to where they need to be.
So you mentioned the turkey trot. For those who don't know, Romulus, we do have it around Thanksgiving every year to benefit our Goodfellows.
Yes.
Child Without a Christmas. What a great cause. We wanted to create some events that were more in line with Romulus. We don't want to copy what everybody else is doing. We want to create our event. So you guys came up with the turkey trot, or the gobble wobble, as we affectionately call it. And it's not a 10K or a 5K. It's playing to our wheelhouse. It's a 0.69K. And it's really, we just get together for some fellowship and camaraderie. We meet downtown and we walk to Walters.
It is, and we start around the Eagle Alley area down there, which is great. And I can tell you, it's another event that continues to grow. I think, Gary, who helped us out last year, said, man, we almost ran out of bibs for your numbers to run, which is great. I mean, we get 100 people. That's 100 people out there having fun, dress up as turkeys, but just another fun thing to, kind of trot through the downtown.
Some people
and end
are
up
serious.
At Walters.
Some people come to win it. And then there's always the coveted last place. I think more people try to position themselves to come in last than first.
But it's one of those fun things where everybody comes out and has a great time. And, and it's also, like I said, it goes for a good cause. Kids Without a Christmas, and even benefits our seniors, as well out of the Goodfellows program. So,
and as much as I like to see the local people enjoy these events, that's been another good one. We see a lot of people who didn't grow up around here.
Yes.
We've had Canton come in and go like, what is this? The gobble wobble. We do it a little bit different here in Romulus, and that's we're going to keep growing it.
We do. And another thing, too, that's not in downtown, but still within the DDA district, is the new Hook and Ladder.
Yeah.
Theater right outside City Hall here. But just happy to have John Theed, who's a retired fireman, gave us 40 years as a fireman here, but had a vision with the building that was sitting here vacant, came in with a vision of opening it up as a theater, does comedy nights over there, just been a huge part of what we're trying to build down here. And but selling out most of his shows and just doing good things. And
community theater
nice
is
to have
huge.
Here.
And
Yes.
they're doing a fabulous job at the Hook and Ladder. If you haven't had a chance to check them out,
Yes.
you can get some culture and community theater here in Romulus as well. So you can do the gobble wobble, and we're diverse enough to also have some community theater. And they've done some really good shows, but they also have some one-offs. They have the Horribly Horrible movie night.
Yes.
And those are great fun. But they've done some serious plays as well that I've gone to, and they've really been on point. So go check those out. It's way, turn off Netflix and Prime Video and go watch some live theater in Romulus. It's pretty great.
It really is. I've been to quite a few plays over there. Probably didn't think it was my thing, but I've grown. And it's great just to see people get up there and act and do what they're passionate about. I'm passionate about my downtown and it growing and the businesses being successful, but it's nice to see other people passionate about what they do. And like you said, some of those plays they do, are get very intense with them. Some of them, can be comedy plays. But, I actually went to a comedy show there. He brought in a comic, a couple of them, and it was a great night, just to hear people laughing and, having a good time, and is what it's about,
Yep.
So, and just seeing that theater packed, it's nice, and just another driving force to our downtown as well here and bringing people here from not only Romulus, but outside of Romulus.
It generates traffic, and that's really what you need. You need places that you can't find on the internet. You have to go to them in order to get those services. We talked about Romulus Automotive competing with the internet. You can't do that with Greco Martial Arts Studio. You have to go there to receive your training. If you want community theater, you have to travel there to the Hook and Ladder. You want to get your hair cut, you have to go to see Danielle. So polka dots, if you want to, find those. They got so many different. I don't even know how to describe them. They have so many great little knick-knacks, and they're huge on the goose thing.
The goose thing, the home of the goose down there, and it's awesome. They got a 400-pound goose that sits out front. I think it's crazy, but I'll tell you, what? Speaking of that, it's funny when you drive through your downtown and they're closed and people are out there, and Jennifer's like, "Hey, what are they doing?" They're taking selfies. But that is great to see. We have the 1R in our Eagle Alley, which is a selfie spot too, even at night when it's lit up. You drive down and you're like, what are they? Oh, they're taking a selfie. It makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm excited about the opportunities where we have the vacant building downtown in the restaurant. We've already had some people who have taken an entrepreneurial stop in Romulus and they want to one-up it. So they're looking at the opportunities here. A lot of people are knocking on your door right now instead of you knocking on their door because they see the energy and they share that vision. And that'll be key. So, and it'll all tie into Eagle Alley as well.
It will. And stay tuned on that. We're working on it. We're going to make sure it's the right fit and for the community. And stay tuned on that. But we're continue to grow our events, and we'll have more exciting things coming to you next year as well.
Absolutely. Yep. I think that's a wrap on this episode of Romulus Unpacked. I think we talked about downtown. I think we hit on everything.
I think we did, yeah.
So hopefully you took some value from that. If you have questions or concerns or observations, please reach out to Jerry Frayer, our DDA Director, or my office. Always happy to hear new ideas and share comments and concerns with you. But thank you, Jerry, for coming in today and being a part of this.
Mayor.
And thank you for all you do for our community. Your heart for our community is definitely palpable, and I appreciate it, and you keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. Well, and I thank you and the team behind me as well. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.